Guys, make sure you check out this episode of Bartender HQ where you can join me talking about Flair Camp and the Flair Camp World Tour. Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, David here. I just wanted to let you know on this week's Bartender HQ podcast, we were out and about filming. So if you are listening to the audio version of this, you may notice some background noise. That is because we were out in a coffee shop filming this. So please forgive the background noise, but I think you will find this conversation with Jumbles St Pierre is pretty cool, so please do stick with us. So on this week's podcast, we've got Jumbles St Pierre. I've said that right?
You said it right.
Sort of? Yeah. Cool. Which is a crazy name for someone with your accent.
Right.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself to everyone on the podcast. I know you've got a huge history in Flair bartending.
So Jumbles is my real name.
Yeah.
My parents smoked a lot of weed, is the joke that I tell everybody, but it's not true. There is a real story, but I just won't tell you or you until the camera's off. St Pierre is just French ancestry, about 500 years ago, but it is the most common question. In fact, yesterday I got a message from a student who started the message with, "Hi Jumbles," and then brackets, "Sorry if that isn't your real name, I don't want to offend you," and then continued this message.
Nice.
But yeah, it's my real name, I'm okay with it, it's over. Been bartending for 10 years now. 10 years has gone fast.
20 for me.
20.
2000 was my first bar gig.
What's
I'm
fast,
an
huh?
old man.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here to talk about Flair Camp, and Flair Camp on tour especially. So what's going on with Flair Camp?
So Flair Camp, it's been going for 8 years now, and it's a bartending training week. It's been based 4 years in Portugal, 4 years in Spain. It's always the last week of September, and it's basically a holiday for bartenders. But we also teach some of the best Flair bartending classes I've ever witnessed, and I've taken part in them, I've taught them, and I've been teaching over 5,000 students over the 10 years I've been bartending, so I've seen a lot of this. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about Flair Camp, and I love it so much, is that we really take pride in our curriculum, and we really do teach Flair bartending the right way. One of the biggest stipulations put to Flair bartenders is the fact that they can't bartend. And we see it a lot, obviously. You know, you got the likes of roadhouse competitions where the drink isn't important and it's just about go big or go home, which I love, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there is also an element of, okay, you need to walk before you can run. You need to remember where you came from. You need to stay true to your art, and also be a fundamental professional as a bartender. So we do really start from the basics and build up from it. And in return, our students are very grateful for the knowledge they receive. Perspective shifts, and they are enlightened during that week, as well as just the chance to be around like-minded people, socialise and have a great time, network, meet friends for life. You also do learn a hell of a lot as well.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously back in the day I was a Fridays bartender for about 8 years. Did a lot of the competitions, came second to Tony Adams in the Flair, which is not a bad record.
Shout out to Tony Adams.
Yeah, Tony Adams, top lad.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were running some Flair comps in Birmingham a while ago, and the whole concept of what we wanted to do was actually the bartenders don't need to bring anything, they don't need to bring empty bottles, anything else like that. They literally turn up, the bar is set the same for every bartender, everything's in the same place.
Nice.
The bottles are all at the same level.
Yeah.
So everyone knows exactly what drinks they're making, and the drinks are super high on the scoring. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, man. Beautiful. Coffee.
As soon as we're ready to leave, is that okay?
Pardon?
Are we okay to come and settle up when we're leaving?
Yeah, that's fine.
Beautiful, thank you.
I love coffee.
Yeah,
it's a great idea for a competition. It seems like everybody's trying to fight where the Flair bartending industry is going and come up with these ideas. But a great quote I heard is that you shouldn't waste your energy trying to fight the old, but create the new.
Yeah, absolutely.
So creating competitions like that is really honourable, and I think it's a really good way to bring Flair in the right direction.
The main thing as well is it just meant that like new bartenders that are coming into it don't have to think to themselves, have to do all this prep to try and find bottles, transport them across the country, boxes of empty bottles, taping everything up. Like that was the thing that always used to wind me up, was like you'd see these bartenders there with like syringes putting exactly the right amount into each bottle. And just like, that's not bartending.
Yeah.
Like the bartending side of it has always been super important to me, so I really respect where you're coming from with with that. So how does kind of a standard Flair Camp work? And I know you're taking it on tour this year, so give us a little bit of an idea of how that's going to look.
So the Flair Camp week, basically we do 5 to 6 days of practical training, as well as some theory lessons and presentations from some of the best bartenders in the world. At the end of it, we have some parties, we have a competition, we have events throughout the whole week, and it is really just come enjoy yourself. Don't worry about a thing, we'll take care of you, and we show people an amazing week. The tour is a way for us to go to the people who can't afford to come to us. Now we know the bartenders don't make the most money, so how can a kid in the Philippines who loves Flair, how can he afford to come to Spain and pay the money for the camp? It's not like we're just putting the price that expensive so we can all make some money and make it rain. We just cover costs. We don't make a lot of profit, so the idea of the tour is a self-sustaining tour. So basically the profit that we get from each location is paying for the next trip, and so on and so on and so on. And it's a way for us to take our classes, which we are, like I said, very proud of, and to take them to the masses, take them to the people. So instead of it being a 1 week event with all 5 teachers and guests, it's just going to be myself with a local legend teacher. So for example, the first class is in London, and that's going to be with the man himself, Tommy D.
I've heard of him.
You've heard of him before, yeah?
We've had him on the podcast. I think it was show 7 or something. It was 2014.
Nice. You even remember it as well?
Yeah,
show 7.
yeah, it was way back.
Wow. You'll have to get him on again, huh?
Absolutely. Well, I keep asking him.
How many haircuts has he had since then?
Oh, I mean, his look has changed quite substantially. From like I worked with Tom actually years and years back. We did one of the Bacardi D bars.
Right.
I think it was Homelands Festival or something like that, way back. And I was just like completely starstruck because obviously I've been watching all this Flair stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you Flair? Do you want to go on the 2-man bar with Tom instead of with these 20 guys?" I was like, when I said I Flair.
yeah. So don't look at me.
A bit scary, but like that was back in the days of like King of the Ring.
Right. Wow.
So when he was kind of the Professor Tom.
Wow.
With glasses and so he's changed quite a lot.
Oh, you've seen a lot of look changes then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
He's been through the Sideshow Bob phase, the pineapple phase.
100%. Yeah. and now pretty streamlined.
He's looking good now. I actually saw him the other day, and he's getting some curly hair again.
Oh, is he? He's getting back to that.
But it's kind of short and curly.
Cool.
Who knew that we'd be on to Tom Dyer's haircuts?
Absolutely. I mean, that was I got it on the agenda for this guy. So.
That's covered.
But yeah, so
take that off.
So you got Tom Dyer for London.
Yes.
And then who else have we got?
Oh, so we've got 20 teachers, we've got 20 locations. If you haven't seen by now, check out the website flaircamp.com/world tour, and you will see all the teachers and all the locations.
And we normally save all the plugs for the end, but Jumbles is like, he's on it. Straight in there.
People will switch off after they hear me.
100%.
So I've got to get it in now before your phone runs out of battery. So the legends go on and on and on. Some people I've never met before. Steve Schneider, he's going to do a class with us in Singapore, so I'm so excited for that because he's such a huge fan of Flair as well.
Met him in New York.
You met him, yeah?
Yeah, when we went on our honeymoon a couple of years back. I think we went into employees only on the last shift that he was in New York.
Wow.
Before he went out to open.
Was he 86?
Yeah. He was on his way. It was a kid. But there was this huge queue outside. And I was literally like, I contacted him ahead of time because I was like, we want to come and see you. And obviously he'd got this Schneider Show podcast at the time.
Yes.
So I messaged him. I was like, look, we're in New York. Love to come and see you. He was like, the last night I'm there is the Friday, and that was the day that we landed. So I spoke to the guys on the door, and I was like, look, I just want to double check, is Steve working tonight? I wasn't trying to get any favours or anything. I was just like, is Steve working? Because I contacted him, and he was saying this is his last night. I do a podcast as well. And they were like, oh, look, give me 1 sec. And we were kind of way in the back of the queue. This is at 10 o'clock at night, and the place was packed. And they came straight back out and went, Steve says, come on in.
Wow.
So we got walked straight past the queue. I was like,
wow.
And he served us, I had the Ready Fire Aim, which is his trademark mezcal drink.
What a guy, huh?
Yeah, really, really cool.
That's nice.
We got to see him in his last night in New York, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet him because I know he's a fan of Flair.
Yeah, great guy.
He did a shift in Fuel Bar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember when I saw that. I thought that takes so much like humility.
Yeah.
And just being up for a laugh. Like the amount of guys, bartenders, who take themselves way too seriously, badmouth Flair, but then like have nothing to do with it, or pretend they hate the word, or what, all this terrible 100%. Stuff. And I just think it's really cool that he takes it on, he embraces it, and he's like, that is a part of our culture.
100%. Yeah.
And after that even after that documentary, when his profile exploded, most people, when they get a huge profile,
Hey Bartender,
the film, Most people are more concerned about what they do and don't want to make a fool of themselves because now more eyes are watching, and I just love the fact that you can just enjoy, have fun with it.
Absolutely, and what I really liked about was it was him and Christian Delpeche, I think, were the two guys that were kind of record holders on Rematch Biatch.
Right.
when that was still going on.
Yeah.
Because I think that's finished now, right?
Yeah, the last one was
which is
2
sad
years
because
ago.
I love that.
I love it
as a format.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah.
The best thing about that is training for that. So I did that a few years ago, and my fastest time, world record breaking fastest time.
Yeah.
1 minute 23. But that was in practice.
And how many drinks?
So it's 11 cocktails and a beer.
Yeah.
All rum-based cocktails. 1 minute 23 in practice, but in the real thing I got 1:46 and I came second place.
Still pretty good.
Devastated.
Pretty good.
You're pretty good who's winning it.
Yeah,
you know, if you don't win, you win or you learn. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
But then I was ready for the next one, and then that's it. They stopped.
I had a similar thing with Monkey Shoulder, where they were doing the Monkey Shoulder Masters or whatever it's.
Yeah. Rings a bell. Yeah.
And I sort of signed up a week before it was happening. I'll go and do that. I ended up coming second. But it was only the top 3 from the daytime bit that went to the speed round.
So you said a week before?
Yeah. So I was like, might as well do that.
That's fair play, man.
Ultimate Bartender Championship, that's the one. And I was in 3rd place. Somehow I bumped up to 2nd place without knowing any of the drinks I was making. I was making them off the specs and flaring.
Oh my god!
In the speed round at the end. I was like, somehow I did one more drink than the other guy. I was like,
Take my hat off to you, sir. The speed round is so time consuming to practice, and so to do that in a week and then get that result, maximum respect. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's
tough. The blind nosing was the round where I think I did okay.
Nice.
Weirdly. And the free pour. Like there was a pour test, and you could use whatever technique you wanted. Like there were people jiggering that were less accurate than me. There were people that were using measure because you could only do a single pour.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like if you didn't get it perfect, like you couldn't top up or anything like that.
Right.
And I bounced poured mine.
Nice.
And it was mils.
But that's Friday's training for you, right?
Exactly.
The fundamentals.
Well, near enough.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I was easily the quickest on the core test round. And I think I came second or something to one guy that jiggered. There was someone using weights and everything.
It's a bit ridiculous that you can use a jig in a pour.
I don't care. This is how I work.
Yeah. But and I do like the fact that you had a nose round. Yeah.
Blind nosing as well, black cups with lids.
Very cool.
So you couldn't see the liquid.
Yeah.
Some really cool stuff in there. GPs, you had to calculate your margins, you had to do a stock take round.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a really cool comp.
Wow.
Monkey Shoulder were doing some really good stuff. So yeah, you get like 10 bottles and you have the cost price of each bottle on it with different amounts in, and you had to basically do a stock take and work out your GP. I was like, that's great.
It's not really a spectator comp though, is it?
No, that part wasn't. Like, the daytime bit wasn't, and then you got into
It's awesome,
the really cool stuff at the end. So yeah, it was fun. I like it.
That's
but
nice.
Yeah, and this is the thing, they're bringing some of those other skills in. Like, is it Heyman's? I think that does like the barbacks championships or something as well. There's one where it's like breaking down boxes and shifting kegs.
Wow.
Against the clock.
Wow, that's cool.
Really cool
That's cool. The best one I ever heard, I think it was Sky, and basically you got an island bar. You got 4 stations, and bartender on each station. I think they work something like an hour on that station. You get guests arriving, and each guest is given $100 fake. And then they tip their favourite bartender, and the bartenders just do an hour shift on the bar. I think they each create their own drink, and this is my drink in my corner of the bar. Welcome to my bar. How you doing? And then, but the beautiful thing about that comp is that you can have Luca Cinoli in one station, and you can have Flippy next to it. And then over there you can have Nicholas and Christian. And they can interact, or they don't have to, but they could. And I can just imagine like Luca Cinoli doing the most beautiful drink and not really talking to anybody, but just making incredible drinks with such style and passion. And then I can just imagine Flippy just walking past with a whistle.
Money with it all stuck to his hair.
I mean, what a comp that'd be.
That's amazing. I love that.
I don't think they did amalgamate people with different styles. I think it was all Flair bartenders, American style bartenders. But it would be cool to have all bartenders.
Yeah, I know one of the things, it's not a tips-based thing or not a bartending competition, but chairmans, when they do their Mai Tai comp, they basically set up 3 bars in the venue. And it's whoever sells the most on the night.
So simple.
Yeah,
love it.
So that's the winning cocktail.
I'm all about that. All about that. Because taking money is a lost art for Flair.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, pace is super important for bartenders.
Right.
as well as obviously the entertainment is a great factor to it, but pace is more important than a lot of other stuff. Obviously you've got to look after your guests, but if you're not taking money, like, what's the point in the bar having you there? Exactly.
I think people lost sight of the reason why Flair sort of came to be. It's that period after dinner when the bar's a little bit quiet and there's nobody coming in and you've got people walking past your bar. That's when you do the Flair. That's when you do the show to let everybody know the bar's open. Come here, party with us. Let's have some shots. Let's get it going.
100%.
But I think they just lost the realization that there is a time when you should Flair and shouldn't. But that's more things that we talk about in Flair Camp.
Yeah.
As well as the history of Flair, which I've been fortunate enough to learn about the last few years. I've been trying to make a documentary about the history of Flair bartending, and I started 3.5 to 4 years ago. This is the reason why I quit competition. On my journey of interviewing all these people, I have found the thread of the history of Flair.
Yeah.
And it's now I see it all as the bigger picture. It's obvious that that's how it's happened, but just the mystery of not knowing where it came from or how it came to be so different today than how it was 15 years ago, 30 years ago. It's amazing. And the history of Flair is something we do also teach in Flair Camp, and we'll be teaching snippets of in the World Tour.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm very passionate now about that. The film is still coming for those of you who are interested about that. It's just going to take longer than I thought. Initially, it was budgeted at £753,000 for the film, and the idea was to have a 10-man film crew, and I was working with a production company, and it was all going to be a super HD Netflix big time feature-length
like
documentary.
a Hey Bartender for Flair.
Exactly. But after trying to get money for a year and a half in the rat race of London, working 2 jobs trying to get money for a film, I just couldn't do it anymore. It almost killed me. So now the concept has shifted, and it's going to be more raw and real, and it's just going to be myself and maybe a partner if he comes across, or she. And it's just going to take a few years, but it is coming, so just have a little patience, and eventually you will see a documentary about Flair bartending.
Awesome.
I promise.
That's definitely something we'll be looking out for.
Yeah.
We'll have you back on the show when that's ready.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be plugging that one.
Cool.
So we're lucky enough again to be working with Beaumont. It's a bar supply company. Some incredible bar equipment. We've been working with them for I think 5 years now on Flair Camp, and we have a really good relationship with them. And in return for the relationship we have, they've been kind enough to give us some equipment for the tour.
Cool.
So basically, if you're a student and you sign up for any class, you'll get a little goodie bag with some Flair gifts in there, courtesy of Beaumont. So it is awesome to be working with them again, and just appreciate that relationship, man. Also, I should say that any student that does book onto Flair Camp, as well as the day or 2 days training. So basically, the way it works, the classes in Europe, it's just a single day class. Okay, so classes with myself and Dario Di Colantonio, or Tomek, Marek, Eddie Garcia, Jean-Marc, all these guys in Europe, it's just a 1-day class. If you want to do the whole week, you've got to come in September. For outside of Europe, for the rest of the world, so when we're going to Singapore, Bali with Denny Bakiev, when we're going to Buenos Aires, all of these are 2-day classes. So that means the price is a little bit more to cover the costs. Obviously the flights to get us over there and everything go up, so we have to put the prices of our expenses up as well. And if you're a student in any class, then what you receive is a 10% discount for the week event in September, just because we know that we're going to have students from last year come on these days and come next year again. We do get a lot of students coming again, but this year what we want to do in September is expand. So ever since the first Flair Camp, we've had more students every single year, more students, and now we're at the point where we feel like we're ready to expand quite largely, and we're aiming for 100 students this year for the week. So last year was, I think, just over 60, so we're not far off, but it's just about finding a new complex where we can hold it. We've been doing it in a 4-star hotel in Puerto Banús in Marbella for the last 4 years, which has been fantastic, but we're ready to move on, we're ready to grow, so we are looking at very cool venues for this year, so that's very exciting. So 10% off if you book now. flaircamp.com/world tour. You can check out all the teachers, all the dates, all the locations, and if you've got any questions, you can send an email to helloflaircamp@gmail.com.
So, Jumbles, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Flaircamp.com.
Flaircamp.com/world tour.
For the world tour dates, and you can check out all of the other stuff and the week-long pro Flair Camp, which is the main thing, on the website as well.
That's it.
Thank you very much, man.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.